The new end-of-wipe questline, Terragroup Trail, appears to be gearing us up gradually towards the August wipe, but I've seen quite a few posts and comments with the release of Part 9 along the lines of BSG baited us, this is a streamer-exclusive event. The unfortunate thing is, well, I agree with them. As far as end events go, this one was progressing pretty well. It's an interesting combination of recorded videos, in-game lore, and a full new questline that up until the point of recording this video has 14 parts so far. But the issue is that although the initial pieces were challenging yet achievable for a large portion of the player base, Part 9 has blown this out of the water. For this one, you have to stash various items across the land of Tarkov, and the SB8 machete is the item that has specifically caused the mass frustration in the community. It's a rather nondescript melee item that nearly nobody keeps in their inventory due to it having no actual use versus something like the Red Rebel, and also not as rare as the Tiger, which is used as an endgame vanity item. As the parts of this quest are being released one by one, prior to this lots of players have been led to believe that the questline would be doable with a bit of effort, and I do think that the first parts have been pretty well designed. Find the weird scavs, kill 2 of them, get the Obdorbos end stim, these are all things that require fighting regular-ish AI and other players to get something done. There's nothing wrong with these quests at all. Fighting the goons plus Sanitar on Shoreline is a bit harder, but given they A, spawn in the same place every raid, B, only require you to kill one of the 4 to satisfy the quest, and C, it doesn't require you to actually survive that raid in particular, as you can go and survive any other Shoreline raid afterwards to complete the task. This means that you can legitimately attempt this one over and over, so while it can be kinda tricky, you only need to get lucky once to finish it and move on to the next one. The 5 Bitcoin part is a bit more annoying, especially if you didn't build the Bitcoin farm, but that rewards players who've maxed out their hideout through the course of the wipe. However, there is still a barter from mechanic that, while expensive because of player demand, is possible because there is no find and raid requirement for the coins. And if you don't have the money, you can go farm it up, buy the items and do the trade in theory. That is, if you don't want to go into raid directly and look for them, for example on streets or woods, and look for the bitcoins there yourself. Reset camping isn't my favourite mechanic in the game, but it's one alternative out of many to get them, so I think it's okay. I'm about to battle through the 10 scavs on each map with the RUAF gear, which again just takes time, but there's nothing intrinsically too difficult about this. But next is the notorious Part 9 with its SB8 machete stashing goodness. I don't really know how I'm going to do this, to be honest. The only real spawn is Reshala or his guards, which are being heavily farmed right now. They don't have it very often, and some streamers have been farming him for hours and never even saw it. The other way is just via the flea market, but as you can imagine, there are none up there at all anymore, meaning that you have to basically camp the flea for an indefinite period of time to hope that someone puts one up, and at the speed at which you have to purchase it before someone else means you probably can't even look at the price properly, writing a blank check for the item. What this quest needs is a barter for the machete on the trade, or an increased spawn chance, or just don't put this item in the quest. Even with Reshala farming, Reshala isn't spawning at 100% at the moment, so the problem is there are so few ways to actually stand a chance of getting it, it just doesn't feel possible for most people. You have to go to customs, find Reshala, kill him, and also be lucky enough for him to have the machete on him, all while everyone else is trying to do the same thing. It's too RNG heavy to feel doable. The other items are achievable through the traders and other methods like weapons boxes or the hideout, so while whiskey for example spiked up to 150k or something, it's still purchasable because there's enough of it around. Part of the issue is that we just don't know what's coming next. The part that just got released requires you to visit the black keycard room and the green keycard room, which some people are also saying is impossible, but I think it's probably a little easier because there are enough of those cards to go around and someone just has to open that door. You're still relying on someone else, but it is possible to get it done without actually having the item yourself. But unless this machete thing is changed, I really think this will kill the momentum that the event has so far and gatekeep 99% of the community from progressing any further with it, which is a real shame. This all begs the question of, why do we care so much in the first place? Well, as per Fence's video, the idea is that we'll get a stash size increase, and it's widely believed to be permanent given how close we are to the end of the wipe and what Nikita said on Tarkov TV.
When is wipe? When is wipe? In August. We have prepared different kind of events for you. One of it will be pretty big. You'll need to complete a quest line, and if you will complete this quest line, you will receive a really special bonus.
This is why everyone wants to get it done. It will potentially be the first time in Tarkov history that a reward will cross over into another wipe, which is clearly a big deal and a massive driving factor behind players wanting to complete it. We don't know exactly what form this stash space will take, as it could be something outside of just more lines at the bottom of our regular stash, but this is very different to the way that rewards have worked out in the past, and people understandably don't want to miss out. Previously, end events are normally dipped into to have a bit of fun with the meta kits in your inventory that just aren't going to get used otherwise, practice fighting bosses consistently in every raid that kind of thing, but here BSG really run the risk of excluding a vast portion of the player base from a reward that feels really worthwhile. This will leave a very bad taste if it ends up being completely unachievable by all but the top 0.01% of players, who, to be honest, didn't really need the reward anyway. A last minute update just before I finish this video, apparently they have added them to the common pool, but they're still completely sold out on the flea market, so it seems doubtful that the spawn rate has increased that much. Hopefully BSG are listening and they will put up the spawn rate soon, so there's at least that. As usual, a big shout out to all my patrons, and as always, have fun in your raids.